for you and me. Another key change, oh God, oh no. Big nightmares for you and me.
All right, here we are today, Gig Nightmares, with a very special guest, Mr. Tommy Dorfman. How are you today, Tommy?
Great. And Max, thanks a lot for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thanks for being here. So before we get started with everything, do you ever find yourself running into any issues sharing the same name as the actress from the Netflix show 13 Reasons Why?
Well, I go by my club name that I go by from back in the day from the club world. I still go by the name of Tommy D. So
Okay. Nice. Okay, so
Tommy Dorfman's really a formality for lawsuits.
I gotcha. So, to give a little bit of background on yourself for listeners of the show, you spent about 15 years and obviously, you can feel free to correct me on anything. You spent 15 years as a concert promoter in the New Jersey, New York scene, working to build up Juice Entertainment at the same time while fending off organized crime, also known as the mafia. As your operations continued getting bigger, you put together a huge EDM festival that was set to be held at the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey. While doing that, Live Nation stepped in and basically tried coercing you into a partnership deal with terms that really only benefited them. When you declined the partnership deal due to those terms, Live Nation used their monopoly power to terminate your festival contract, threaten to blacklist any artists that worked with you, block ticketing access, and also pressure the venue, as they do with others all the time, basically shutting them out of future tours that they operate. So since then, you've been in a 15-year legal battle with Live Nation. There still hasn't been an actual jury trial for your case, which is why you're here today to talk more about it. But it also has helped increase more awareness and bring more federal attention to, well, this whole matter.
So you're absolutely right on the money there. Everything you said.
Okay, so obviously, there's a lot to get into there. I think it would make most sense if we started going, I guess, in chronological order, because even just hearing the things about dealing with the mafia while working the club scene, I'm curious to hear some of these stories.
Yeah, sure. My first successful party out in New Jersey, I'd ran some in New York before, was actually club was called Kokomo's nightclub in Paramus, New Jersey.
Okay.
I did a Wednesday night party there. The owner, whose name was Jimmy Famulara, pretty big mafia influential guy at the time. I packed the party out on a Wednesday. It was massive successful, making a lot of money. And after I was making a ton of money, he wanted half my money. So I told him, no, I wasn't going to give you my money. I've never paid the mafia a dollar. And then he had a security guard with him by the name of Tower. He came up, he pulled the gun out. He put the gun out at my head. I told him I wasn't going to pay him. He put the gun in my mouth. After he put the gun in my mouth, I told him, listen, Jimmy, you can shoot me. You can kill me. Your club was dead before I came in here, or you can let me work and you're going to make all that bar money and you continue making money. Your choice. I walked out the door. He didn't shoot me, so I'm still here.
It really is amazing because I'm originally from Pennsylvania, but have been living in Jersey the past 2 years, and just the amount of mob related stories I've just heard from people working the club scene, going back decades and decades, is just ridiculous. Hell, you can even just look at Jersey Boys as the prime example of that, but it's really amazing just how much power is, at least historically, was consolidated in this area with the mob.
Yeah, well, look, at least Mr. Famularo let me keep doing business. I packed out that Wednesday, made a lot of money, had a lot of success to help boost my career for a year, and he never pulled the gun out on me again. So,
and the
nation stopped me from doing business. So,
yeah, in the interview you did with Capital Forum recently, you also mentioned a Tommy Gambino. What's the story there?
Yeah, so Tommy Gambino at one nightclub did not want me to be the promoter of that club, coming from the club owner. I was cool with him before that. A lot of times I worked well with the mob because they come in the club, VIP section, bottle service. They wanted to come to my parties. I had all the hot parties. So I have a lot of friends in there. They just usually didn't bother me. And then he told me to leave that club. Don't be there anymore. I told him no. So he started choking me out. I tried to fight back a little bit, kicked him a little bit. He's a big dude. Luckily, I called my brother from another mother that was there and pulled him off me. And then he told me if I went back to that club, that would be goodbye. I went back to the club. They let me do business.
Yeah. So just to like give like another like story. So I normally play in like an 80s tribute band. That's kind of my main gig right now. And the band leader of that has been around, playing in bands since the mid 70s or so. And one story he told me with a booking agent he was working with, I don't remember the exact name, which is probably good for my sake. But the booking agent he was working with, well, he was about to be working with them. He was playing with like a C-level band. And all of a sudden, after one gig, there's like, these big muscle guys in suits and whatever, they say, you need to be at this place at this time on Monday. And so he shows up and it's the head of a booking agency. And he says, where's all your gear? So he says, okay, my gear is at this location. He says, okay, you're going to be at this place at this place. You're no longer in your band now. You're in this band now. And it's like, just like stories like the first time I heard that, I'm thinking that's ridiculous. But no, I mean, obviously with your situation where they're saying, oh, you're not going to be working here anymore. Don't come back here, or no, et cetera. Just like that's sort of just directive just given to you with like no negotiations or anything.
But you know what? At the end of the day, they let me continue doing business. They let me be, and they let me keep doing business as Live Nation did it. So.
Sure. So that the Live Nation story is still just absolutely insane. So at what point, like how close did you get to actually how far away was the festival at the point when it got shut down?
So we had everything in place. We had our staging set up. It was the best deal I ever made in my life. This was a 10-year contract exclusive with the State Fair Meadowlands, 55, goes over 3 weeks. They have 500,000 attendees. It was like kind of like Daisy from the West Coast, if you're familiar with. We had all the artists, the agencies. Some of them were saying quotes like they want to be the wind behind our sails. They were trying to partner with us. We had everything lined up. Everything was in place. The artists were all confirming. And then Live Nation found out about it and stepped in and clicked of a button. Goodbye.
So I have plenty of questions because like obviously like being a musician myself, this is a matter that kind of affects everyone, and even just fans in general. It affects literally everyone because it's in essence a matter of like the future of live music and how feasible, who gets to be involved, who gets to go even see shows. So can you describe I mean, obviously like I was doing research, but just for like listeners, can you describe a little bit of the current business model of Live Nation and exactly how it screws over fans and artists?
Well, Live Nation controls the whole entire business, controls everything. You can't do business in the entertainment scene, as you probably know, as being an artist, at least grow in it, without working with Live Nation. They control all the venues, they control all the 360 tours, they control all the ticketing with Ticketmaster, which is their enforcer. So without working with Live Nation, well, not even just working with Live Nation, without bowing down to Live Nation's demands, taking any deal they tell you to take as an artist or as a promoter, as a venue, rebates, kickbacks, take this deal, lack of security for if you're a venue being scared. It affects the whole entire ecosystem and destroys it. And for fans, the ever increasing ticket prices, for the artists, lack of choices where they can go to. Artist development has been, in my opinion, really diminished because it's just these bigger tours with Live Nation where people have to mortgage their house to go to a concert. So, and the fans, the biggest thing that are taking the hit. And my case has been delayed so long, and that's one thing that upsets me about it. The sooner it gets to a trial, I think it'll help the fans a lot more with those ticket prices.
Sure. So I'm sure you saw recently, we're recording this on the 24th of September. On the 18th, I saw an article saying the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, is suing Live Nation and Ticketmaster for engaging in illegal ticket resale tactics and deceiving artists and consumers about price and ticket limits. So, also knowing that earlier this year there was the executive order directing the DOJ and FTC to inquire into what do you expect to be the outcome of this?
Well, I think it's great that the FTC act and filed the lawsuit right there. So I'm really happy about that outcome. You never can tell with the government. I hope I'm hoping for with the DOJ trial, with the FTC. I hope that more stuff even comes out, even stuff from my case. And I'm hoping Live Nation gets split up into many pieces as possible. If it existed, just for the fact, I would care only about their employees that work there that don't lose their retirement funds. Like when Enron went bankrupt, some of the poor employees there lost their retirement funds and the jobs. But for the top executives and for the company, how it ruins the whole entire industry, I would love for the company to be split in many pieces or shut down.
Sure. So I have a handful of questions, if you don't mind asking, just about the matter. So in similar sorts of cases, has the government, with their decisions, tended to lean towards protecting consumers or business owners in similar sorts of cases?
It really varies, and I can't speak on behalf of the government with that, but it varies what they do. I would just say if the government cares about the fans and about the scene, then they will continue their cases and push the strongest remedies they can to make this a better ecosystem and not just one monopoly mob-run business.
Sure. Okay. Next question. So I don't imagine I'm insane for saying this, but just due to the legality of lobbying, I tend to, and I'm sure it's a commonly shared sentiment, but there isn't really a whole lot of faith in government to do the right thing per se, just because of the influence of and legality of lobbying. So I'm not sure if you would know the statistics on this, but how often is there any way of any metric knowing how often the influence of lobbyists tends to sway legislative decisions in the favor of large corporations?
Well, I would just say, in my opinion, I don't have the statistics. In my opinions, I do think the lobbyists carry a lot of weight. They got a lot of money, and these big companies like Live Nation that have unlimited funds, their lobbying usually does tend to affect it. But I do have faith in the Trump administration that they will continue and do the right thing for the fans.
Okay, so I guess kind of piggybacking off of that previous question. So it would obviously benefit Live Nation to never let your court case come to trial and for them to continue running in a monopolistic fashion unopposed. Now, knowing that Live Nation, from what I read online, they more than doubled their federal lobbying spending from $2.4 million in 2023 from $1.1 million in 2022, navigating legislative and regulatory efforts to break up their power. I don't imagine it would be incorrect to assume that your court case has been delayed for so long due to the influence of dirty money in politics. I don't think that's an unfair assumption. So I remember reading that there's the Fans First Act. I don't know the status of that personally, but reading that, it seems like a good idea. Obviously, the end goal is restoring consumer trust with ticket pricing, transparency, cracking down on illegal ticket sales, banning bots from buying tickets, all good things. But as you mentioned, your end goal would be going further than that, seeing the breakup of Live Nation and Ticketmaster's respective business functions into as many separate pieces as possible, which, that would definitely be the most beneficial thing for, everyone besides them, obviously. So
Yeah, everybody besides their board of directors and their investors and their stockholders.
That's it. So, obviously, love the idea, as a musician, as a fan. How feasible, just knowing that we're so deep into the Live Nation, Ticketmaster, live music ecosphere, where they are owning, at least in 2023, the statistic I saw online was 64% of top venues in the country, 78% of which Ticketmaster is using their ticketing services, and I'm sure that number's only increased since then.
So, how feasible? What would be? Sorry.
Getting to that end goal of breaking everything up into as many pieces as possible.
It's very feasible if the government took the right action or took the action that at least I see fit to do. I think it's completely feasible to do so. And I think it's necessary to reduce the ticket prices for the fans, for artists to have choices of which promoter they can play for, except for Live Nation, for the venues not to be strangled and have to kick exorbitant rebates out, what I allegedly run a criminal enterprise to Live Nation. It's Ticketmaster. It's forced down your throat by Live Nation to have to use, not by choice, but by force. And that's Live Nation's enforcer. So if you get rid of the enforcer right there, it's going to open up competition for all the ticketing companies. It'll open competition for the artists. Artists can decide how nice would it be. You're an artist. How nice would it be if you could pick where you want to play and pick between 10 different promoters? Who puts on a better show? Who has better production? Who has cheaper costs for better production? Instead of just being told you have to play this show at these expenses, at this cost, use Ticketmaster, or you're not, no show for you. You're not doing it, no event for you.
Sure.
Would you prefer that?
So I guess the question I'm kind of hinting at, what incentive does the federal government have? I mean, obviously, you hope that they do the right thing in terms of like pursuing anti-monopoly laws and whatever. What incentive does the federal government have, knowing that there is how much lobbying money put towards that?
Well, look, the lobbying money is definitely an issue, that's for sure. And Live Nation's putting a lot of it out there. But I will just say this, the government's incentive, in my opinion, is all the fans across the board from every single industry. You can go to NASCAR, you can go to Disney on Ice, so the concert production business, for all the concerts. It's a lot of fans. And if the politicians want votes, on my stake, I have faith in the government. But if they want votes, these people all vote. So if you want people to vote for you, I think, all the fans would be very happy for a breakup of Live Nation and Ticketmaster and a split up into as many pieces as possible and have lower ticket prices. I think any politician that supports that would be a good thing for them, for the do the right thing, and also for votes.
So as we discussed before starting the call, I read a quote yesterday saying that Live Nation CEO Michael Rapino has claimed that tickets for concerts are underpriced compared to other forms of entertainment. He made the remarks during CNBC and Boardroom's Game Plan conference, stating that there is scope to charge more for concert tickets, despite the rising costs of living, which are hurting the pockets of the average live music fan. So with that in mind, knowing that because like I watch a bunch of different videos and sources in terms of like the current state of the job market and et cetera. So knowing that the job market is kind of shrinking right now with whether it's the rise of automation and AI and other foreign policy factors, and that's kind of leading to an increase in unemployment, especially in young people. What is the future, at least on the current trajectory of if Live Nation is able to continue doing everything they're doing now unopposed? What is the future of live music being able to even just afford a ticket, since it's already proving to be difficult for so many people?
Well, first of all, there for Michael Rapino, I think he should get out of his massive, rich Beverly Hills house and go out and speak to the fans that go to his concert, and feel how they feel about these ticket prices. When people have to make a choice if they are late on a car payment, miss their rent to pay for a ticket for their kids. You got all that data from Live Nation and Ticketmaster. Why don't you put a survey out there and ask if the general public feels that the ticket prices are too low? Put it out on your website. Put a massive survey out. I think we can all tell what the answer would be. So I think he should basically get a reality check of what it is to be an ordinary person that doesn't have all this money that you ripped everybody off from, and what your company continues to do. So yeah, the prices are just completely, if it's left unchecked, as Michael Rapino said, they're too low. They're going to keep jacking it up, stacking their pockets in. And they'll keep, in my opinion, I allege, extorting it in ways that I believe are not illegal. that are illegal.
So, what do you think? Obviously, you don't work for Live Nation, but I'm curious what you think. What do you think is their plan for long-term sustainability then? Because that's the way I look at it is like, okay, as you know, disposable income becomes something that eludes more and more people as time is going to go on. With if left unchecked, and ticket prices keep rising as well as the cost of living. When it gets to the point where no one can afford a ticket, and we're kind of already seeing that now with some tours that happen, tours that are expected to do really well, but then are only half sold because of whether it's, however many different separate economic factors. What do you think is their long-term sustainability plan for their model? Because it doesn't, at least the way I look at it, I don't understand how they can expect anyone to keep buying tickets if, let's say I can't. I was going to say like a ludicrous example of like $400 for nosebleed seats, but that's already a reality.
That's where you're at with Live Nation and Michael Rapino. So for their business model for sustainability, well, right now with the ticket prices, the reason they're so high is because of Live Nation's business model, which my expert, Dr. Richard Barnett, from evidence that I've obtained in my case and information I've seen, how they have the venues have to kick exorbitant rebates to Live Nation in exchange for bringing up the cost of goods, such as security and all expenses, without the artist knowing, without the independent promoters knowing. And then all those padded costs are passed on to the ticket price. And then there's so many promoters and artists, as you probably know, doing shows where they're in the red. They're not making any money. Co-promoters of Live Nation, not making money. I've seen massive information, hundreds of shows, all no money. But on the back end, Live Nation, with those rebates that come in, that's all they care about. They're making money and bragging about it. And so I think they'll continue their business model unless it's unchecked.
It makes sense that they would do that, but still, like in the long term, I don't see, like, inevitably there's going to be a point where I guess it kind of assumes the idea that the if it's the middle class that is spending a lot of money on tickets, and that keeps shrinking and shrinking, and well, obviously it's a sliding scale, but it seems like in an extreme example, it would really only be like the upper class, the wealthy, that would be able to like actually buy tickets. But that's not a big enough consumer base, is it? Or would shows just be smaller at that point?
Well, I think when they put the stadium tours on with the popular artists there, as you can see, a lot of people that are buying these tickets are not rich. The people paying $1,000 for a lot of these tickets, they sat on all these queues for so long. These are ordinary, a lot of them that I've talked to are ordinary people, and they just struggle to get that ticket for their kid or their favorite artist. And I think they'll just make people struggle more, be 2 months behind on your car payment. I don't think Live Nation is. You saw Michael Rapino. Let's raise ticket prices. Okay, they're too low. Yeah, and put a survey. You got LiveNation.com. You got Ticketmaster. Put a survey out. Let your fans decide right there. Let's be realistic.
So, going along with the idea of Live Nation really just not caring about the fan experience. In the interview with Capital Forum, you mentioned Astroworld and Live Nation, in the wake of that, choosing to deny additional security when requested by venues, and then threatening to withhold shows from those venues for even questioning that. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really sad because at these events, some of these things like Astroworld, that documentary hit me. It's really sad, people dying over corporate greed. On the security side, information I've seen, Live Nation the venue says, hey, listen, we're worried. We need more security. We're scared that people may die. We are worried that this is not going to be safe. And that venue, the state owner, another one, is told, you listen to us, shut up. We're the boss. We're Live Nation. You listen to us, or we skip your show, and we skip your whole entire arena. So yeah, that's a major safety issue and a major concern. I remember back in the day, I saw something with Congressman Pascrell, was a supporter of mine. He had put stuff out asking about reaching out with the safety of, he had passed, the late congressman had passed away, unfortunately, reaching out about the safety of these events. And when you have one monopoly, control everything from the ticketing to the venues to the artists to how they even the artists to in the venue what security they're allowed to have. Even state owned. It's not good for anybody's safety. But end of the day, to me, it just looks, they just don't care. It's just as much money as they can stack in, and that's it. It's all about them, and it's all about their stacking their pockets up at the expense of the fans and expense of people, regular people.
So I guess the question to somewhat wrap everything up, what can we as fans do to support you and anyone else in this fight for what is essentially the future of live music?
Well, I have a hearing coming up in New Jersey Federal Court at October 17th. Anybody that wanted to come there in support of me, I'd appreciate it. Myself, like I said before, I don't want money from anybody. I'm fighting this for the fans now. I'm fighting this for the scene, and mostly for the fans at this point, from the information I've seen, to get these ticket prices lower and hopefully where we can get a vibrant industry again. I would ask for people to, just show their support on social medias across the board. Anything like that, it'd be appreciated.
All right, awesome. October 17th. If you have any more details for that, I'll be happy.
October 17th, New Jersey Federal Court. Big hearing coming up where Live Nation's trying to get all this information that I have, trying to knock a lot of it out because they don't want it to see the day of light of that courtroom because they're scared of what it is.
All right. Well, I have this episode set to come out on October 8th, so that hopefully get the word out about that then. Awesome.
All right, perfect.
All right. Is there anything else you wanted to say while we still have you on here?
No, Max, I really appreciate you having me on, and hopefully my case can get to a courtroom sooner than later. And I understand the courts are busy, but get there sooner or later, because I believe my case can really help the fans and really help to get the ticket prices down, so they can stop suffering as much as they are.
Absolutely. Well, Tommy, I want to say thank you for being a guest here on Gig Nightmares. Obviously, this is a very important topic for everyone involved. So thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you having me on too. And thank you very much. And have a great rest of your day.
Sounds good. You as well.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Gig Nightmares. Gig Nightmares is an independently produced podcast made possible by the support of listeners like you. If you enjoyed this week's episode, we would appreciate if you left a rating and a review for us. Gig Nightmares.